Everyone, my name is Grizzly, and this is my companion, Pika. You might remember me from my movie reviews, but today and every Thursday I will be bringing you an interesting short story. Most of my stories will have a message, a moral. Today's story is The Lion and the Mouse. It's an adaptation of a story by Jerry Pinkney. Once there was a lion, the king of the jungle. He was fast asleep. Just then, a little mouse began running up and down on him. This soon awakened the lion, who placed his huge paw on the mouse and opened his big jaws to swallow it. "Pardon me, O king," cried the little mouse. "Please forgive me this time. I promise I shall never repeat it, and I shall never forget you for your kindness. And who knows, I may be able to do you a good turn one of these days." The lion was so amused by the idea of the mouse being able to help him that he lifted his paw and let him go. "Okay, little mouse," he said, "you are lucky this time. Anyway, you wouldn't have been much of a meal." He laughed as the little mouse ran for his life. Sometime later, a few hunters captured the lion and tied him to a tree. After that, they went to get their wagon to take him to the zoo. Just then, the little mouse happened to be passing by. On seeing the lion's plight, he ran up to him and gnawed away the ropes that bound him to the tree. The king of the jungle was free again. "Was I not right?" said the little mouse, very happy to have helped the lion. "Here's the moral of the story. Small acts of kindness will be rewarded greatly." Okay, that's it from me. I'm Pika. Grizzly out. Bye. Good day everyone, it's Grizzly here. I'm Pika, of course. I'm sure you know me by now. Today and every Thursday I will be bringing you an interesting short story. Most of my stories will have a message, a moral. Today's story is The Miser and His Gold. An old miserly man lived in a house with a garden. The miser had saved lots of gold coins. He hid his gold coins in a pit under some stones at the bottom of his garden. Every day, before going to bed, the miser went to the stones where he'd hid the gold and dug them up and counted the coins. He continued this routine every day, but not once did he spend the gold he had saved. One day, a man passing by noticed the old miser's routine and decided to wait for the old man to go back into his house. After it was dark, the thief went to the miser's hiding place and took the gold. The next day, the old miser found that his treasure was missing and started crying loudly. His neighbours heard the miser's cries and asked him what had happened. The miser told them his story about how he had saved up the gold coins and they enjoyed looking at them every night. On learning what had happened, the neighbours asked, "Why didn't you save the money inside the house? It would have been much easier to access the money when you needed to buy something." "Buy?" said the miser. "I never used the gold to buy anything. I was never going to spend it." On hearing this, the neighbours threw a stone into the pit and said, "If that is the case, save this stone and imagine it's your gold, because this stone is as worthless as the gold you have lost." So what's the moral of that story then, Pika? Yes, that's right. So what did you think of that story then, Pika? I'm sure you understood it.
Yes, Grizzly. I understood it. I wish
too, Pika. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed this story. If you have a story that you would like me to tell everyone, please leave me a message in the comments. It must have a good moral. So that's it for this week from me and Pika. Grizzly out. Bye. Good day everyone, it's Grizzly here, and Pika of course. I'm sure you know me by now. Today and every Thursday I will be bringing you an interesting short story. Most of my stories will have a message, a moral. Today's story is The Peacock and the Crow. Do you know this story, Pika? Okay, it's a good story, and this was recommended by Roel Urera. Thank you, Roel. So, here we go. A crow lived in the forest and was absolutely satisfied in life. But one day he saw a swan. This swan is so white, he thought, and I am so black. This swan must be the happiest bird in the world. He expressed his thoughts to the swan. Actually, the swan replied, I was feeling that I was the happiest bird around until I saw a parrot, which has two colours. I now think the parrot is the happiest bird in creation. The crow then approached the parrot. The parrot explained, I live a very happy life until I saw a peacock. I have only two colours, but the peacock has multiple colours. The crow then visited a peacock in the zoo and saw that hundreds of people had gathered to see him. After the people had left, the crow approached the peacock. Dear peacock, the crow said, you are so beautiful. Every day thousands of people come to see you. When people see me, they immediately shoo me away. I think you are the happiest bird on the planet. The peacock replied, I always thought I was the most beautiful and happy bird on the planet, but because of my beauty, I am entrapped in this zoo. I have examined the zoo very carefully, and I have realized that the crow is the only bird not kept in a cage. So for the past few days, I've been thinking that if I were a crow, I could happily roam everywhere. That's our problem too. We make unnecessary comparisons with others and become sad. We don't value what God has given us. This all leads to the vicious cycle of unhappiness. Learn to be happy in what you have instead of looking at what you don't have. There will always be someone who has more or even less than you have. So do you know the moral of the story then, Pika?
Yes, Grizzly, I do. A person who is satisfied with what he or she has is the happiest person in the world.
So what did you think of that story then, Pika? Do you agree with that moral?
Oh, yes, Grizzly. I wish for happy. I'm happy just the way I am.
Me too, Pika. I think I'm just perfect. Anyway, did you notice? All those birds sounded the same. So that's it for this week from me and Pika. We'll see you on Monday. Grizzly out. Bye. Good day everyone, it's Grizzly here, and Pika of course. I'm sure you know me by now. Today and every Monday and Thursday I will be bringing you an interesting short story. Most of my stories will have a message, a moral. Today's story is The Boy Who Cried Wolf. I'm sure many of you have heard this story before. How about you, Pika? Do you know this story?
Yes, I know this one, Grizzly. It's a great story.
Yes, you're right, Pika. In my opinion, it's one of the best short stories. So, here we go. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Once upon a time, there was a shepherd boy who used to take his flock of sheep to the hill to graze on the fresh green grass. Sitting there, he had nothing to do the whole day. One day, an idea struck him. To overcome his boredom, he cried, "Wolf! Wolf!" And all the villagers came running up the hill with their sticks to frighten the wolf away. But to their dismay, they found no wolf. The boy laughed and laughed. The villagers were not happy with the boy and told him, "Please don't call wolf unless there really is a wolf." Again, after a few days, he was bored again and cried out, "Wolf! Wolf!" And the villagers again came running up the hill, only to find that the shepherd boy had fooled them again. The shepherd boy laughed and laughed, seeing that he'd managed to fool them again. However, this time the villagers were very angry, and they told him that the next time he cries out for help, they would not come. Next day, when his flock of sheep were grazing, he suddenly saw a real wolf. Yes, a real wolf. In terror, the boy ran toward the village shouting, "Wolf! Wolf!" But though the villagers heard his cry, they did not run to help him, as they had done before. "He cannot fool us again," they said. The wolf killed a great many of the boy's sheep, and then slipped away into the forest. From that day onwards, the boy promised never to lie again. So do you know the moral of the story, Pika?
Yes, Grizzly, I do. The people refuse to believe a liar, even when he's telling the truth.
So, did you enjoy hearing the story again, Pika?
Oh yes, Grizzly, and that's why I never ever tell lies.
Haha, me too, Pika. I think if you always tell the truth, people will treat you well. So, that's it for today. I hope you all enjoyed today's story. If you have a story that you would like me to tell everyone, please leave me a message in the comments. It must have a good moral. So, that's it for today from me and Pika. We'll see you on Thursday. Grizzly out. Bye. Good day everyone, it's Grizzly here, and Pika of course. I'm sure you know me by now. Today and every Thursday I will be bringing you an interesting short story. Most of my stories will have a message, a moral. Today's story is The Three Little Pigs. Do you know this story, Pika?
Yes, Grizzly, I have heard this one before. It's one of my favorites.
Yes, it's a great story, and this one was recommended by Teen Sonic the Hedgehog 2021. Thank you, Teen Sonic. The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there was an old mother pig who had 3 little pigs and not enough food to feed them. So when they were old enough, she sent them out into the world to seek their fortunes. The first little pig was very lazy. He didn't want to work at all, and he built his house out of straw. The second little pig worked a little bit harder, but he was somewhat lazy too, and he built his house out of stakes. Then they sang and danced and played together for the rest of the day. The third little pig worked hard all day and built his house with bricks. It was a sturdy house, complete with a fine fireplace and a chimney. It looked like it could withstand the strongest of winds. The next day, a wolf happened to pass by the lane where the 3 little pigs lived, and he saw the straw house, and he smelled the pig inside. He thought the pig would make a mighty fine meal, and his mouth began to water. So he knocked on the door and said, little pig, let me in, let me in. But the little pig saw the wolf's big paws through the keyhole. So he answered back, no, 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 not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin. Then the wolf showed his teeth and said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The wolf opened his jaws very wide and bit down as hard as he could. But the first little pig escaped and ran away to hide with the second little pig. The wolf continued down the lane and he passed by the second house made of sticks. And he saw the house and he smelled the pigs inside. And his mouth began to water as he thought about the fine dinner they would make. So he knocked on the door and said, little pigs, let me in, let me in. But the pigs saw the wolf's pointy ears through the keyhole, so they answered back, no, 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 not by the hairs on our chinny chin chin. So the wolf showed his teeth and said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. So he huffed and he puffed and he blew the house down. The wolf was greedy and he tried to catch both pigs at once, but he was too greedy and he got neither. His big jaws clamped down on nothing but hair, and the two little pigs scrambled away as fast as their little hooves could carry them. The wolf chased them down the lane and he almost caught them, but they made it to the brick house and slammed the door closed before the wolf could catch them. The three little pigs were very frightened. They knew the wolf wanted to eat them, and that was very, very true. The wolf hadn't eaten all day, and he had worked up a large appetite chasing the pigs. And now he could smell all three of them inside, and he knew that the three little pigs would make a lovely feast. So the wolf knocked on the door and said, little pigs, let me in, let me in. But the little pigs saw the wolf's narrow eyes through the keyhole, so they answered back, no, 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 not by the hairs on our chinny chin chin. So the wolf showed his teeth and said, then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. Well, he huffed and he puffed and he huffed, and he huffed and he huffed and he puffed and he puffed, but he could not blow that house down. At last he was so out of breath that he couldn't huff and he couldn't puff anymore. So he stopped to rest and thought a bit. But this was too much. The wolf danced about with rage and swore he would come down the chimney and eat up the little pigs for his supper. But while he was climbing onto the roof, the little pig made a blazing fire and put on a big pot full of water to boil. Then, just as the wolf was coming down the chimney, the little pigs pulled off the lid and plop, in fell the wolf into the scalding water. So the little piggy put on the cover again, boiled the wolf up, and the three little pigs ate him for supper. So, do you know the moral of the story, Pika?
Yes, Grizzly, I do. The moral of the story is that hard work and perseverance pays off in the end.
So you like the story then, Pika? Do you agree with the moral?
Oh yes, Grizzly. I know we need to work hard if we're going to achieve success.
Yes, work hard and work clever. This will usually bring you success. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's story. If you have a story that you would like me to tell everyone, please leave your message in the comments. It must have a good moral. So that's it for this week from Pika and me. We will see you on Monday. Grizzly out. Bye.